welcome to Mark My Words, the first episode, the inaugural episode before the season. Mark My Words, the football podcast with Rob
and Scott.
And we are going to be here all season long into the postseason, and maybe a little in the off season as well, to get you up to date on everything going on in the NFL. We're going to be doing season predictions, season awards, and weekly picks. So if that sounds of interest to you, we'd really appreciate if you would subscribe to the podcast. And for this week, we're just going to be going over season predictions, season awards, and week one picks. So it should be a lot of fun. We get a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. Now let's go right into our season predictions here. And this is something we do every year. We've done for the past 3 years, and we keep track of the scores on it. So we thought that's kind of the reason why I want to do this podcast, because we've had some crazy takes, and we've been absurdly right and wrong. So Scott has a point system here that he keeps track of to see how we can do throughout the year. So why don't you explain to them what the point system is there?
So how our system works is we go through and we predict each game individually throughout the NFL season to give us our record predictions for the year to make them accurate, as well as going through and predicting our award winners as well as the playoff bracket. So the way our point system works is, for the regular season, if you correctly predict the record, you get 15 points. If you're one game off the record, you use 10 points. 2 games off the record is 5 points. 3 games off is 2 points, and anything more than 3 is 0 points. For our award predictions, it is 10 points if you correctly predict the award winner, and it is 5 points if your predicted award winner was nominated but did not win.
Okay. And we're doing that this year, right? Or are we leaving that out?
Correct. We are doing that.
Okay.
And for our playoffs, predicting the Super Bowl winner is a 20-point bonus. Or I'd phrase it differently. Predicting the Super Bowl winner is worth 20 points, and predicting a correct playoff matchup is 15 bonus points.
Okay, see, it's basically rewarding you for doing well in the playoffs. Yeah.
And a team advancing to your predicted playoff round is worth 5, 10, or 15 points for the corresponding round.
Okay, so those are huge. Like, you could definitely make up a lot of ground if you do well in the playoffs if you were behind.
Absolutely, but that also takes into a lot of things into consideration.
Yeah, because you're narrowing down the 32 teams into 14, and having them in the right spot is extremely difficult.
Even if you have the correct teams in the postseason, the teams that you predicted did not face each other, maybe they did, and now 2 teams you said would go through the divisional round had to face each other, and now one's out.
And now wait, so let's say like I predict the Bills to make it, right, and the Bengals. Let's say the Bills and the Bengals face in the first round, like in my predictions, and I say I have the Bills winning. Now, what if the Bills face like the Colts in the first round and the Bills win? Do I still get the same amount of points for the Bills winning that, or is it like?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not voided just because they're facing a different team. Okay.
Yes, that'd be correct.
Be clear on that, but I wouldn't.
But there is just an extra 15 bonus points if the correct There is an extra 15 bonus points for predicting the correct matchup, regardless of the outcome.
Oh, okay. So you get credit for both.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. All right. So I think we're clear on the rules here. So let's start doing it here. We're gonna start with the AFC. We're gonna go north, south, east, and west. So I'll go first with the AFC North, and we'll go 1 to 4. So division winner to division losers. So AFC North. I have the Baltimore Ravens coming out of that division at 12-5, and they obtain the 3 seed in my predictions. Then second in the division, we have the Super Bowl champs Cincinnati Bengals at 11-6. They also secure the last wild card spot. And then we have the Cleveland Browns at 10-7, and the Steelers at 9-8.
And in my predictions, I have the Bengals coming out on top at 13-4, holding the number 2 seed in the AFC.
Oh, okay.
Then at 10-7, I have the Baltimore Ravens earning the 6th seed. And then at 9-8, we have the Cleveland Browns. And coming up in the rear is the Pittsburgh Steelers at 5-12.
Holy smokes. Whoa, okay. So nothing too crazy, I mean, except the Steelers there. 5-12. So I don't know, it's going to be difficult because they have 3 quarterbacks that are all competing for the job. right? And it looks like Trubisky is gonna be the starter day one.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Well, I mean, when you say you have a quarterback competition, you know what that typically means, right?
Yeah.
That means that there's not a good one.
Yeah.
You said, and I've always been lower on Pittsburgh in recent years than everybody else. I just have no faith in them at all. I mean, the fact that they made the playoffs last year with a lifeless Ben Roethlisberger is absolutely astounding to me.
They were abysmally boring to watch. Like you see the Steelers on TV, there is no urge at all. I feel nothing watching them. I do not want to see the Steelers play football. At least last year. I think
Absolutely.
This year they're going to be more exciting this year. Just like the fact that you said that, I think that plays more into them being better. Like you said, the fact that they were able to get into the playoffs with statue Roethlisberger is incredible. Now they actually have a quarterback that can move. Like Trubisky is mobile. Like he's going to be the starter. He's going to be mobile. And I think he's underrated. Like what we saw in Chicago, he had nothing with him. Look at that Chicago team. They're the same now as they were then. They have nothing. So I think he's only going to be better for that experience of backing Josh Allen and learning from that offense. And, even if he's not starting, I think Kenny Pickett, well, we'll see what happens there. But he looks pretty poised. He looks like kind of that Mac Jones thing where it's like low ceiling but also a high floor. So he's kind of the guy that comes in. He'll get you, a play-action offense. He'll be fine in that. So I think they'll do fine either way. Because Najee Harris is a beast. So the offense is going to run through him.
Absolutely, he is.
They're going to be like them and the Cleveland Browns are going to be a similar offense. They have great running games. Questions at the quarterback at least to begin with.
So between our AFC North predictions, a few discrepancies. Having the Bengals and Ravens flipped in both of ours.
Yes, I don't know. The Bengals to me, that was kind of like a fluke.
Well, I've changed my tune about them quite a bit because I believe listening to all the hype leading up to that Super Bowl week when I said I bet you the Bengals never get past the divisional round in the next 5 years.
Yeah, that wasn't a hot take to me. When you said that.
But looking at their receiving core and everything they've got in their offense with Joe Burrow, and they really retooled their offensive line quite well. I tend to believe in them more than I did at the time.
I don't know, they seem like a Philadelphia Eagles type of thing to me. They were hot. They got good at the right time, but they just weren't able to sustain it. I don't think they have enough. They have Joe Burrow, who's good. We think. He was good for a year. Who knows? 1 year isn't anything. Cam Newton was good for a year. Carson Wentz was good for a year. All these quarterbacks that are good for a year. He had a pretty special year. But if you go back and look at their schedule, they really didn't start beating the good teams until later in the year.
Yes, and they did have a very easy path in the playoffs.
Yeah, a very easy
facing the Raiders and the Titans.
Yeah.
Who could have... Well, we'll get more into the Titans later,
No,
of course, when I talk about them. But
Titans are pretty bomb. They were pretty good last year,
Okay,
I think they're the best one seed maybe ever last year.
I think we're going to ignore that comment for now.
Well, anyway, I don't think that's too wild, though. The Bengals are good enough to get into the playoffs. Them winning the division isn't a hot take.
Having them at 13-4 is definitely a lot more than what you had.
A bit of a stretch, yeah, but
so,
I don't know. I think Lamar Jackson is going to be, lights out this year, in my opinion. MVP candidate, so I think he leads them.
I tend to agree with that.
All right, now we're going to go into the AFC South. And that includes the Colts, Titans, Jaguars, and Texans. So, Scott, why don't you go first on this one?
So this one, I'm sure, is going to have a lot of good conversation between the two of us.
Yes.
Knowing your history between the Colts and the Titans. Well, anyway, I'll start mine off. In first place, I have the Indianapolis Colts with a record of 11-6.
Okay.
And they would be the number 4 seed in the AFC in my predictions. Then, following up with that, I have the Tennessee Titans at 8-9.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
Then the Jacksonville Jaguars at 7-10, and finally the Houston Texans at 4-13.
Oh, that's not terrible because mine's gonna be more similar than you think. So for me, I had the Colts also at the 4 seed, and I had them at 11-6. I had the Titans at 9-8, so they missed the playoffs, and Jacksonville Jaguars in third with 6-11 as their record. And the Texans sitting at the bottom, bringing up the rear, not only of the division, but of the conference at 2-15. Just maybe the most untalented roster in NFL history again. So I think ours is pretty similar there. I mean,
Actually, it really was.
Yeah.
I mean, we had predicted the Colts with the same record, only one game difference in both the Titans and Jacksonville, and then a 2-game difference between the Texans, but we both really have the same premise with them.
Yeah,
that
they're garbage.
A very bad team.
Yeah. So I don't know. The Titans, number 1 seed last year, now missing the playoffs for both of us. So, I mean, they lost, A.J. Brown, but other than that...
As well as Julio Jones.
And Julio, he was nothing at that point, but... I mean, what do we like?
They've lost other players as well. I believe Harold Landry.
Oh, really?
And Roger Saffold.
Oh, dang. Okay. Well, I love Jeffrey Simmons and I love that defensive line, but the coaching is always going to be good. But I think the Titans are a team that they're going to give you a good fight, and you know what you're going to get from them every week. But Derrick Henry, I don't know. I feel like the last 3 years I've just been waiting for him to crash, but it just hasn't happened.
Absolutely, same here.
Yeah, it's like the Tom Brady thing. All right, he can't be good every year, but he is.
I'll go back to one thing. Harold Landry tore his ACL today.
Oh, are you kidding me?
And is out for the season.
Okay, well, yeah, that's not good. I don't know. Ryan Tannehill is good enough. I mean, but
to win you games, but I feel like he's never going to take you to a Super Bowl.
No, I don't really ever see that. He's not even one of those quarterbacks you can win the Super Bowl with. I don't think he's like a tier below that. There's the quarterbacks you win the Super Bowl, you win because.
Yes.
And you win because, or you win with, you win because. I don't think he's really either of those. I mean, that was they had the game in their hands against the Bengals. They literally played that game so much better than the Bengals. You go back and watch it; they were in every aspect better. I believe Tannehill threw 3 interceptions at the worst time.
I believe in that game, Joe Burrow was the most sacked quarterback in NFL history to win a game.
Oh my gosh! I mean, this just goes to show you, that's unacceptable. That sums up Ryan Tannehill with the Titans. I think that they really could have benefited from trying to go for Jimmy Garoppolo or snag Baker Mayfield, but they were never even in that conversation, which was just shocking to me because I think Ryan Tannehill has proven every season that he's just not the guy. So I think we're both in agreement there.
Yes.
The Colts, though, I think they're going to be really good this year. So they pretty much had the same team for the past 3 years. It's just been the quarterback. They've had a different one in 4 years.
Yes, they have. I mean, personally, I have a lot of belief in Matt Ryan to be able to take a team and elevate them, especially over the play they've had recently with Carson Wentz.
Yeah. For sure. Two different quarterbacks you could ask for.
Yeah, when you have a weapon, I believe, as poised for a breakout season like Michael Pittman as well as Jonathan Taylor coming off an MVP-like season.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be a force. When they were with Rivers, that's kind of what I think of. The Carson Wentz thing, that was just throwaway that year. But, when they were with Rivers, they made the playoffs, the wild card. They got the Bills in round 1, right?
Yes. And
they almost won that game. They were close to winning that game. I think if Matt Ryan had been the quarterback, that they may have won that. Because I think Matt Ryan right now is better than Phillip Rivers was 2 years ago. I think we can both agree on that.
I would agree with that, yes.
Yeah. And I think Matt Ryan's just a better quarterback overall. So he's really perfect for this team.
Yes, I thought so too. And the last team to comment on this division would be Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I mean, last year with Urban Meyer, so crazy.
Worst head coach ever.
That'd be the conversation about having an adult in the room now.
Yeah.
with Doug Peterson and the coaching staff they brought in. They made a lot of signings.
Yeah. I mean, overpaid for them, but they're still, they're there.
Yes.
There's still weapons.
And I believe you can definitely see a much bigger step from Trevor Lawrence this season. But despite that fact, I don't see them being competitive in the AFC this season.
Trevor Lawrence, that's he's the new Andrew Luck, with just how much people are going crazy about followed him through all of college and I don't think the hype's for nothing, but they got to recover a little bit from that Urban Meyer experience. So this is a bridge year. Maybe next year they'll be a contender.
Absolutely,
but not this year. All right, now moving on to the AFC East. That includes the Bills, Patriots, Dolphins, and Jets. So I'll go first with this one. At number 1, no shocker, I have the Buffalo Bills with a record of 13-4 and snagging that 2 seed. And then we have the Miami Dolphins at 8-9, missing the playoffs. And then we have the New England Patriots at a whopping 5-12 record, followed by the New York Jets at 4-13.
And I'll move on to mine. I as well had the Buffalo Bills winning the division. Mine at 15-2.
Holy smokes!
Enough to capture the number 1 seed.
Yeah, well, I think so.
Yes. In second place, I also had the Miami Dolphins with a record of 8-9.
Okay, yeah.
Then I had a bit of a change up. I had the New York Jets in third in the division with a record of 7-10.
Oh, okay.
And the Patriots finishing fourth with the same record you had of 5-12.
Okay. So I tend to go like a little bit top heavy, and then my bad teams are really bad, which
Yes.
It doesn't really translate usually. But I just can't see when I coming in there. Usually they'll see some upsets, but it's hard for me to pick the Jets will beat the Colts randomly this week. I can't feasibly say that, so I just don't. But the Bills 15-2. Holy smokes!
As I was going through their schedule, I had such a hard time picking them to lose.
I know it was hard. I think I had them losing to the Rams in the opener, just because the Rams weren't put together. It's Super Bowl, and then I had them losing to the Bengals. I want to say the Packers maybe.
I believe I had them losing to the Chiefs and the Bengals.
Yeah, Chiefs was another one too. I don't know, something about the Chiefs for them. It's like they just can't do it.
I mean, they did beat them in the regular season last year, but
but
in the playoffs they can't.
That's true. But I mean, the Bills are going to be they're going to be a force.
Absolutely, one of the
teams
top to bottom, one of the best records in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that concerns me a little bit is the secondary with High being injured, and Poyer being old, and Tre'Davious White now he's going to miss the start of the year, correct?
Yes.
So that might be a bit of a question mark there, but other than that, it's going to be smooth sailing. Also, the running game I was worried about, but I mean they did fine the last 2 years without an established number 1 back. So I think their passing game is going to be more than good enough to make up for that.
Absolutely.
Plus their total yards running last year wasn't bad. I mean it wasn't great, but their average was fantastic. Singletary was in top 10 in rushing average. So yeah, I think that kind of just shows you where the NFL offense has gone from the running game to the passing game. Think about the 2 best running teams last year, Browns and Colts. Neither of them made the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a reason why.
Yeah. So yeah, a good quarterback can make up for a lot of things on a football team.
And moving on to Miami, we seem to be quite on the same page about that.
Yeah, not gonna Tua. Again,
it all comes down to Tua. You can have this amazing wide receiver core with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And still not be able to get it done.
And a good tight end. And
Gesicki.
I'm not in love with their running backs.
Such a gross, Really?
Gaskin and who else?
They had Mozart and Chase Edmonds as well.
Yeah, I mean, those are a bunch of backup running backs, though. Chase Edmonds back up to James Conner and Kenyon Drake even. And Mozart has been the guy that's kind of jumped around. And I don't know, I don't love Gaskin.
I actually kind of like Miami's backfield.
I don't know, I'm not in love with it.
And then
Patriots.
The Patriots. The Patriots making the playoffs last year, of course.
5-12, we both have them.
We've talked extensively, Robert and I have, about the Patriots and just about how lacking their offense is.
No, but I can't name a single receiver they have. That's just insane. I don't know. You expect Mac Jones to get better and everything to run smoother than he did in his first year, but they don't have an offensive coordinator. That's just crazy.
And all reports out of Patriots training camp seem to be that Mac Jones and the offense have been struggling.
Yeah, I know, and he's frustrated, understandably. He's getting no help. He's got a defensive-minded head coach. His offensive coordinators are defensive coordinators. This is just a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely, and being a lifelong Bills fan, I will relish in it.
Yeah, I know. I remember the first year that Brady left, all these Bills fans were just up in arms. They were just so happy, and I was don't be so quick to just write them off. And sure enough, 2 years later they made the playoffs, only to get absolutely murdered by the Bills. But I think I'm gonna write them off this year. There's nothing. I understand Bill Belichick, and you want to trust him, but I mean, look at what they have. They have nothing.
And final team to talk about would be the Jets. And
yeah.
The opposite of what I think about New England is when I look at the Jets, they have
quite
a lot of offensive talent on there. Whether it comes together, will be seen. I mean, honestly, if they had, how we were talking about Matt Ryan, if they had a Matt Ryan,
right.
I think absolutely they'd be a playoff team. But I mean, Zach Wilson was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL last year.
Maybe the worst.
Yeah.
And he's already hurt, so that can that's just.
Yeah. but a core with Corey Davis and
Who else they got? They got somebody else.
I just messed up the name. A core with wide receiver core with Corey Davis and Elijah
Moore. Awesome.
With Elijah Moore, love Elijah Moore,
Yeah.
as well as their first round pick this year, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, and look, Denzel Mims too.
Mims,
he's a brute. I mean,
with Mims and Braxton Berrios,
yeah,
as well as signing CJ Uzoma in free agency.
Yeah, that was a good signing. And Braxton Berrios is like the best kick returner in the league right now. So
that's a lot of good weapons there for them offensively.
I know.
If they don't take a step this year, which I think they will be a little more competitive at 7-10, but certainly for the future, they've got a bright future at receiver.
I think so too. All right, so AFC West to wrap up the AFC, and we'll have Scott go first on that one.
So, for the AFC West, I had the Los Angeles Chargers in first with a record of 13-4.
Okay.
Enough for the number 3 seed in the AFC. Following up them, I had the Kansas City Chiefs at 12-5 with the number 5 seed in the AFC. Then in third, I had the Las Vegas Raiders at 9-8, enough to take the 7th seed in the AFC.
Really, 9-8 gets you 7 in the AFC?
Yes.
Ooh.
And then in fourth in that division, I had the Denver Broncos at 7-10.
Holy smokes! Okay, well, that I was not expecting that because I'm also low on the Broncos, but apparently not as low as you are. Because I had the Chargers number 1 at 14-3, taking the number 1 seed in the AFC. The Chiefs at number 2 at 11-6, and taking the 5 spot in the wild card. The Raiders at number 3, taking the 6th spot with 11-6 record, and the Broncos at 10-7, just missing the playoffs. So I think let's talk about the Broncos first, because I was shocked at that. I never have trusted. I think Russell Wilson has been overrated. He's been on some phenomenal Seahawks teams with that defense, and to me, he's just never had the pocket presence to be an elite quarterback, which is why he's never had an MVP vote. So. But I mean, the Broncos, people are saying they're telling me how good the receivers are, but I mean, are they? Jerry Jeudy, unproven, and Tim Patrick's hurt for the whole year. I just don't see it with the Broncos.
And as you know, I'd been actually very high on the Broncos when they first acquired Russell Wilson, which it was odd to me when I'd almost kind of flipped a lot because I was lower on the Raiders at the time.
Yeah.
But now I don't know what it was so much that changed me about the Broncos, but it's all of a sudden it's I can't see them being over the Raiders. I liked what the Raiders had a lot more than the Broncos.
Right. I love the Raiders team. I wanted so badly to put the Raiders winning this division. I didn't have the guts to do it, but I would not be shocked because Derek Carr, I think this is his chance. This is his year.
Absolutely.
If he can't do it this year, you got your the best receiver, undoubtedly we can agree probably on that in the league.
In Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Yes.
And someone he has a repertoire with. He's played with him since college. He's got Darren Waller, one of the best tight ends, maybe the best offensive tight end. Then you have Hunter Renfrow, maybe one of the best slot receivers in the league. That's an offense that is just incredible. And the defense last year, really stepping it up towards the end of the year. I think they're going to be an absolute force.
Yes, I am very excited to watch the Raiders this year and see what they can do.
Yeah, they're going to be one of the more fun teams to watch this year. And especially when you get to see them play teams like the Chiefs and the Chargers, and the Chiefs, I don't know, I see them taking a step back, I guess, but also they're gonna have that poise when it comes to the playoffs. They may struggle a little bit in the regular season, but they're gonna advance in the playoffs, in my opinion.
I think so too. But one thing about the Chiefs that I think my opinion differs than a lot of people. A lot of people are low on their receiving core after losing Tyreek Hill, and obviously Tyreek Hill is a great receiver.
Yeah.
But I quite like what the Kansas City Chiefs have at receiver now.
I love it.
With Sky Moore, MVS, and Juju Smith-Schuster, as well as Mecole Hardman.
They complement each other perfectly.
And not to discount Travis Kelce either.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I quite like that receiving core.
I know it's one of the best in the league. I think.
But people seem to be low on it, from what I've heard.
I don't see that. You got your speedsters still, MVS and Mecole Hardman are two of the fastest guys in the league. Then you got your brute force and Juju and Travis. That's a really good receiving core. And then Patrick Mahomes is more than a good enough quarterback to make do with that.
Of course.
We're talking about not too many people I talk to are concerned with the Packers offense with their lack of receivers, and that's with Aaron Rodgers. Patrick Mahomes is right up there with Aaron Rodgers and how good he is. And he's got a much better receiving core. So don't even tell me the Chiefs are going to struggle at all in the passing game this year because they are not. And the Chargers, though, I mean,
Of course, we've both predicted a changing
They're
of the
too
guard
good.
here in this division.
they're too good. Like, it's an all-star roster. Like, seriously, they just completely just add the
100%.
perfect things.
Both the Chargers and the Raiders had fantastic off seasons, in my opinion. I mean, the Chargers bring Justin Herbert, just incredibly elite quarterback, as well as having Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, along with another emerging receiver in Jordan Palmer. Like,
Yeah, oh my gosh. Or Josh Palmer. Is it Jordan? Or Josh? I don't know.
it's probably Josh Palmer.
One of the
but
other
yes.
But also adding like Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson on the defense, like that's huge. Like, and Brandon Staley,
As well as and Bosa too, like and Staley being one of the most aggressive coaches in the league.
right? I think he's the only thing holding him back, though. He's got to tone it down a little bit.
You think so?
Yeah, well, because like analytics are one thing, but like there's a human element to the game. Like I understand the analytics part of it, but like the momentum, that's what the analytics don't take into consideration. Like how the game is going right now. How is your offense feeling right now? How is that defense feeling right now? Like what just happened in the context of the game? I think he has to kind of use his own judgment. Sometimes judgment is not a bad thing. Like I understand that, but there's some instances where it just drove me nuts. That being said, I think he'll make the necessary adjustments to win the division, though.
Absolutely.
All right, so that's our AFC predictions,
And I will go ahead with my predictions now. I'll do a quick
NFC
refresher.
side of things.
From 1 to 7, in the AFC I had
Although
Buffalo,
there's no denying the AFC is
Cincinnati,
much better this year in
LA
terms of
Chargers,
NFC's always
Indianapolis
been
Colts,
being a Packer fan, no matter
Kansas City
how,
Chiefs,
abysmally
Baltimore
untalented
Ravens,
it is.
Las Vegas Raiders.
But
And the
here we
NFC
go,
from 1 to
NFC,
7, I had Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
started
Green Bay
off,
Packers,
start with
Dallas
the
Cowboys, LA Rams,
and
San Francisco 49ers,
East-West.
Minnesota Vikings, Arizona Cardinals.
So hitting number
Alright,
one
pretty
spot
solid
up
list.
north, the Kings of the
So
division
in my
and
first round
Green Bay
matchups,
Packers winning
I had
12-5,
the Kansas City Chiefs defeating the Indianapolis Colts,
seed in conference.
the Cincinnati Bengals defeating the Las Vegas Raiders,
Vikings clocking
and the LA Chargers defeating the Baltimore Ravens.
wild cards.
And then the NFC, I had
And at the number three,
the LA Rams defeating the San Francisco 49ers,
one of the more exciting
the Green
teams
Bay,
of the year.
the Green Bay Packers defeating
Out for
the Arizona Cardinals,
Dan Campbell.
and the Dallas Cowboys defeating the Minnesota Vikings.
I had them going 8.
Then in the divisional
Surprise
round,
to see
I had the Buffalo Bills defeating the Kansas City Chiefs,
Oh, revenge game.
the LA Chargers defeating the Cincinnati Bengals, Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeating the LA Rams, and the Green Bay Packers defeating the Dallas Cowboys.
There we go.
And in the AFC Championship, I had the Buffalo Bills defeating the LA Chargers to advance the Super Bowl. And in the NFC, I had the Green Bay Packers defeating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to advance the Super Bowl.
Oh, look at that.
And,
Two teams in there.
Same. And of course, the homer I am picking the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl.
All right, so Bills fan over here, and it's a shocker. He picks the Bills to win the Super Bowl. And me as a Packers fan, I know it's a shock. I pick the Packers to win. We're so unbiased. You know, it's pretty awesome.
I know, right?
But mark my words, the Packers are gonna win the
Bears
Super
come
Bowl
up
this
here
year.
at 5 and 12.
So you can write. You're gonna want to write that.
All right, well, you went definitely a little bit more.
All right, and now we move on to the last part of our season predictions, and this is the awards section.
And you have MVP, offensive MVP, defensive MVP.
But
offense-
so you went Green Bay 14.
Is it just for offensive rookie of the year?
Yeah, it's offense and defense.
Okay,
for
it's both,
right
right?
there.
Okay.
With the
And then
Comeback.
rate that
comeback.
Aaron Rodgers has played at
Okay.
the last couple of years,
And we're just
I
doing the
expect that
winners,
will
right?
still
No
continue,
runs.
even
Okay,
with the
so
And how does the
absence of
point
the-
system work for
of the
this?
receivers he has. That running game will be
Pretty
able to
big
be able to hold
margin.
them up
I
towards their
remember.
defense.
You could
It's a very
definitely
well coached
impact.
team.
If you
I
predict
think
the
they'll
correct
be able
award
to
winner,
still
you will
take
receive
home the
10
title
points.
in,
and if your predicted award winner is a nominee but does not win the award, you will get 5 points.
Oh, okay.
The Vikings are not.
That's pretty good. There's like, what? There's like 3 nominees, I think.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty good. I like
The
that.
Bills in Buffalo.
All right, so we can alternate. So you can go first for the MVP, and then I'll go first for offensive rookie or offensive player, and then on
So
and so
who do you
forth.
like? Who do you think? they
So, for
beat?
MVP,
Probably the Rams.
I mean, of course we go back to our bias, but to go along with their Super Bowl win and
Right, you gotta
the
keep
number
it
1
consistent.
seed
Just 'cause
in the
they
AFC,
get
MVP,
at least one game.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we could easily like be like, oh, I had the Packers win the Super Bowl. Let's say my MVP is Aaron Rodgers. It's not. But it's like, oh well, in this I'm just gonna go completely off script and go like, oh, Trey Lance is the MVP. Like, we're not going to do that. We're going to. This is in
You
correlation
seem
with our season
quite a bit
predictions.
higher on
Yes.
Vikings.
So
than most
my
people.
MVP
Yeah, I don't know. 'Cause
is
I think what was holding
Super
them back
Bowl
was
loser,
Mike Zimmer, to be
Justin
honest.
Herbert.
Like, they got the
Yeah,
new coach
I
in
really
there,
like Justin
and
Herbert from
I
his
think
rookie
Kirk
year,
Cousins has
and
done,
I think he's got the perfect coach,
more than
perfect
his fair
offense
share
to
the
thrive.
last couple of
And he's a
years.
yard machine. He, like,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, him and Josh Allen. So Josh Allen was a good pick because they don't run the ball all that much, and when they do, it's with Josh Allen.
Although I do quite like that Herbert pick as well.
Yeah, I mean they're both like great young quarterbacks. It's gonna be really fun and exciting to see them duke it out for the next 15 years. It's gonna be awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, so offensive player of the year. So this one's a bit difficult because you kind of want to think about like.
I mean, and with,
So
some
Justin
of the
Herbert
players
would have
they
been
have
my,
in their offense, Justin
obviously he was
Jefferson,
MVP,
Adam
and my
Thielen,
runner-up
Cook.
for MVP is like,
been stacked for
it's
years,
probably
so
Josh Allen. So
they just
logic
can't
would
be
say
that,
he's the
like,
offensive player of the year, but I feel like they tend to give that to like running backs now,
Yeah,
and
Lions
receivers.
are probably
As they
my
did with
favorite
Derrick
team
Henry,
other than
so
Green Bay this year to watch.
I'm gonna go with a bit of a
I
wild
loved them
card
last
here,
year. I never
and
thought
I
they were
think
as bad as
that
the record,
the
showed.
Browns' offense is
I
going to
could
be
easily- I had
ultra
them
reliant on
beat
the running
teams. I
game.
could easily-
So I think Nick Chubb is going
I could've
to
easily
eat up
pushed
the
them and
yards.
knocked them twice.
And mark my words, he's going to hit 2,000 yards
And one
this
thing
year.
that we talked about
You're going to want to
before,
write that down.
I
Nick
don't
Chubb,
find them
2,000
interesting.
yards.
I find them more interesting if they
offensive
had
player.
a better quarterback than Jared Goff. I find
Very
Jared
nice,
Goff
I like that
extremely
prediction.
boring to watch.
And I'll go a little off the board as well.
For
mine,
I like
we
that.
got too much.
He's kinda
But
like
my
he's less
offensive player of the year
Jimmy
is
G.
Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase.
Okay, so offensive rookie and then offensive player of the year.
I mean, I predicted the Bengals to capture the number 2 seed in the AFC, have a strong season, and I believe Jamar Chase will play a huge part of that. And I'll throw my own in. Mark my words, Jamar Chase will have over 1,500 receiving yards
Holy
this season.
smokes. That's an exciting mark my words there.
Yes.
I can see that happening, and if it does, that is going to be awesome. I mean, that's a nice graduation though for Jamar Chase, offensive rookie,
No
offensive
receivers.
player of the year.
I
That would
like
be- that'd
Justin
be
Fields
pretty
a
cool to
lot
see that.
going into that
Yes.
draft, but we'll see how they develop.
And now on to defensive MVP. I'll be going first. And my defensive MVP is Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa, okay. So a bit of a veteran comeback here for Joey. If he can stay healthy, that's a good. I like that pick with the Chargers defense. Who are they? Khalil Mack.
Yeah, Khalil Mack opposite him.
Yeah, okay, I see your
I like
logic
the
there.
potential for a big sack year for
Yeah.
Joey Bosa.
Okay, yeah. At first I was like, but then I was like, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. That's
Second,
a
I
good
had the
pick.
New Orleans Saints.
But I went a little
7-10.
younger, and I kind of went the route you went with
Third,
offensive
I have
rookie
the
to
Carolina
offensive
Panthers
player,
at 6-11.
defensive rookie, the defensive player of the year.
And
Because I have
then
Micah
coming up
Parsons
last
winning
is the
defensive player
Atlanta Falcons
of
at
the
2
year
and 15.
this year.
2 and 15.
And yeah, he's just an all-purpose linebacker. They should really have him at the edge more often, I think, because he's a great edge rusher. More
Also,
so than a pass coverage guy.
also I believe a good pick, an absolute all-around player for Dallas.
Yeah.
He does everything.
I mean, I made a point to go after him in my fantasy draft because he just does everything, and he does it all so well. All right, so now on to this year's rookies. This is the spot where I struggle in year after year. I doubt I've got any right in this one, but I'm gonna give it a shot. So offensive rookie of the year, I'm taking a guy that I had my eye on the Packers to draft, which is a receiver drafted by the Saints, is Chris Olave. So my thought process here is Jameis Winston. Maybe Michael Thomas isn't what he used to be.
I am a Jameis Winston guy. I
is
definitely
looking
am
for
a
a guy
Jameis
to
Winston
establish
guy.
his connection with. Michael Thomas was Drew Brees' guy.
But with
So I
some
think
of the
Jameis
moves
Winston
that
has got to find
New
his
Orleans had to
guy.
make to be
I
captain
think Chris
line as
Olave
of late,
could be that guy.
they've had to lose a few key
And
guys
along
there.
similar lines for me, I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to have to find his guy this year. So my rookie of the year is going to be Christian Watson.
Oh, okay. So I thought you were going to say Romeo Dobbs because I had him as my runner-up
He could
here.
end up being suspended at some point during the
I
year.
loved Christian Watson coming out of the draft, and I think he's going to play a big part in the offense for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, I love the pick, and what's even better is that we traded with the Vikings to get him.
There's
So
a
that
lot
was
coming
awesome.
in this year.
I think the Vikings traded down like twice in that draft, and it was just
Yeah,
both of them. I just
he's
remember
solid
thinking, like,
enough.
that's
I mean,
a terrible trade down. But hey,
Plus, like,
I'll
I don't
take
know.
it.
Yeah, I definitely.
All right,
see
so
that. I definitely
defensive
see
rookie of
that.
the year.
And the biggest thing for me, like, is
For defensive rookie
no
of the year,
Sean
I
Payton.
chose
Like,
Aiden
really
Hutchinson.
Yep, me
Defensive
too.
end.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like that just seemed like the
That team
logical
last year was
choice
just
Yeah,
there.
defensive ends are just
like
they're getting
oh
all the
my
money
gosh, all the
nowadays
injuries
in
they
the
had on that
NFL.
team, and
Yes.
like they had what,
And,
Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, they both got hurt. It was Trevor Siemian, and they still managed to scrape together like enough wins to be competitive. It's pretty insane. And then you had the one year with Drew Brees when he went out. They went like 5-0 with Bridgewater at the starting quarterback. But that was all, and in my opinion, that was like mostly Sean Payton's doing. So without him there, it's going to be interesting. I could see them going to 7-10. But I don't know. I mean, their division's pretty easily. They're going to sweep the Falcons. They'll probably sweep the Panthers, and they usually get a game in against Tampa Bay. So that's right there. That's 5 wins.
Tampa Bay, of course, most people would say are going to be the most competitive team in that division. Coming off Super Bowl a couple years ago, Brady's still back to being Brady.
Right.
Hoping that Godwin will be healthy sooner rather than later.
I think for Tampa Bay this year, this is kind of going to be. First off, I think it's going to be Brady's last year, and I think it's going to be kind of like his last year in New England. Like, it's just going to be a kind of a quiet exit in like the first round of the playoffs. Nothing too exceptional in the regular season, just kind of because he's not even like this isn't Brady. It feels like it feels like the interviews he was kind of just not 100%, and like Brady was always like 110%. Like he was just the guy. Like never took a day off. Fully committed, and he was already thinking about retiring. He did retire, comes back. It just I don't like the look there.
Yeah,
Brady.
Understandable. I could see that as well.
But Carolina is interesting to me because I think they have
Absolutely.
a really high ceiling, but also a pretty low floor. All depending on how well Baker plays.
Yes, we saw some very good things from Baker Mayfield 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But dealing with that shoulder injury last year.
Right.
You'd think that affected him a lot. I would. He was very good 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he can come back with some decent weapons there with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson.
Right. I think this team has like a good measure of desperation. Like Matt Rule, this is it's do or die for him this year. This is like he's on the hot seat.
For sure.
And they got some talented receivers. They got a great running game, a pretty good defense. And, Baker Mayfield, if he balls out, I could see them doing some damage. On the other hand, if he plays like he did last year, they could be in like a very much, tank situation. But Atlanta Falcons, garbage.
Yes.
We can both agree on that.
Undoubtedly the garbage of the NFC.
The class of the NFC. Matt Ryan was the only thing they had on that team for the last, 5 years. Ever since that Super Bowl loss.
Marcus Mariota, throw you right in the toilet.
Yeah. Yeah. Better than Carson Wentz, if you ask me. All right, speaking of Carson Wentz, we're moving on to his division, the NFC least. And this division is, it's everyone's favorite division to watch. It's so entertaining every year. And, if you don't think I'm being sarcastic, you are wrong. So, NFC least. Number 1 is the Dallas Cowboys at a whopping 10-7 record, snagging that number 4 seed, which is just unfair that they get home field advantage, but they do. Number 2 in the division is the Eagles, coming in at 9-8 and missing the playoffs. Number 3 we have the Washington Commanders at 5-12, and number 4 the New York Football Giants with a new head coach and a new general manager. Same results at least for this year, although I do believe they'll turn it around at some point. They're coming in at 5-12 as well.
And my predictions I had, also the Dallas Cowboys finishing first, but I had them at 12-5, enough to take the number 3 seed.
Ooh, okay.
Then I had the Eagles in second place with 8-9, also missing the playoffs. Then I had the Washington Commanders at 7-10, and in last I had the New York Giants at 3-14.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I thought for sure you were gonna have the Eagles doing really good because people seem to be flying high on the Eagles for no apparent reason.
Yeah, I have been very low on the Eagles. I did not think they belonged in the playoffs last year.
They didn't. They beat garbage teams.
I'm not a Jalen Hurts believer.
No.
People have been very high on them, and I have not been on the Eagles train whatsoever.
Yeah, I think Devontae Smith is a rail. I don't think he's gonna do much of anything in the NFL. And AJ Brown is a great receiver, but when you're a receiver, you're only as good as your quarterback can be. And Jalen Hurts, like you said, I didn't see it. Like he was like a lot of the guys, like Tyler Huntley type of people. Like he can run, but that's really it. A lot of guys can run. A lot of guys can make plays off script. That doesn't make them good quarterbacks. And the fact that they didn't beat a single team with a winning record last year,
Yep,
was just I don't know. And Coach Sirianni he's a joke. He's like the polar opposite of Dan Campbell. Like, just completely awful at the podium.
Personally, I will be betting the under for the Eagles' record this season.
What is the number for their wins?
It has been around 9.
9?
8.5 to 9.
I have them going 9, but yeah, I would bet the under on that because depending on how the season goes, they may bench Hurts, and then it's all over from there. But Commanders 5-12. Some people are high on them too. It's just a shock to me because they traded for Carson Wentz when Baker Mayfield was. I mean, I don't know when the timing of that was, but if they would have waited, they could have easily gotten Baker. Jimmy Garoppolo was the loads better than Wentz. I don't understand that move. His career is done, in my opinion.
I mean, I love a lot of what the Commanders have at wide receiver in Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin,
right.
Curtis Samuel. I do really love a lot of their receivers, but I can't see them getting it done with Carson Wentz.
No, and that defense should be good, but it should have been good last year, and it wasn't. So if that's not good, they really are. They could be a garbage team. I mean, they are going to rely on that defense. And, personal opinion, I think Ron Rivera is a bit overrated as a coach. I mean, he made the Super Bowl
agree with you.
With Cam Newton, who was unstoppable for that 1 year. Besides that, he really hasn't done anything worthwhile. So I'm not trusting the Commanders this year at all. And the Giants, I think Brian Daboll and Joe Shane are going to do a good job with that team. But it's the worst. It's the sloppiest team in the league. Their cap situation is awful. And they have nobody. They have nothing to show for it. Their number one receiver is Kenny Galladay. I mean, as far as number ones go, that's pretty weak. They have Daniel Jones, a terrible, unproven quarterback, at the worst defense imaginable, the absolute worst offensive line. That's a dumpster fire.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they will turn it around in New York, but it will not be this year.
No, it definitely won't be this year. This is like a kind of bite the bullet year, as they say.
Yes.
Save up your money. Just as hard as it is for Giants fans, you just gotta watch them lose again, 4 or 5 win season again.
Yep.
All right, now we get to we're done with all that abysmal team division. We get to the class of the NFC West. So start us off on this one.
So I had an interesting finish here. In the number one position here in this division, I had the Los Angeles Rams at 11-6 for the number 4 seed in the NFC.
Bit of a low number.
Also at 11-6, I had the San Francisco 49ers.
Oh, I knew you were going to. That's disgusting.
Then in third at 9-8, I have the Arizona Cardinals. And following up in fourth is the Seattle Seahawks at 4-13.
Okay, all right. So I want to throw up at this point, but I'll try to read my predictions. So at number 1, I have the Rams at 13-4. They're taking the number 1 seed. I don't understand why people are down on the Rams, but number 2, I have the Cardinals at 11-6 and snagging the number 6 wild card. Number 3, I have the San Francisco 49ers at 7-10, and at last place, the Seattle Seahawks at 2-15. So let's talk about the Rams for a second before we get into the juicy stuff. So we both have the winning the division. You have kind of a low ball, 11-6. Yes. So why do you think they're going to regress from last year?
Well, I do believe that Matthew Stafford's shoulder injury could linger throughout the year, as some had said, which could be an issue.
I mean, they have a lot of talented, they got almost the same team as they started with last year. I mean, Von Miller, Odell Beckham are mid-season acquisitions.
I mean, without Robert Woods, too. But I mean, Allen Robinson is a good replacement.
Yeah, I mean, you can almost say an upgrade from Robert Woods.
Yes.
Right. So I don't know. I love their team. Their defense is phenomenal as always. Sean McVay, great coach, as we all know. They're going to bring the intensity. They're going to bring the fight every game. And I'm terrified. Like week 1, them versus the Bills is going to be a great matchup, but I don't know. If I'm a Bills fan, I would definitely. That's not how I want to start the year off. Because I don't know. I really like the Rams team this year. I wasn't high on them last year, but after they won the Super Bowl. Like you got to kind of give them some respect in that regard.
And it was just kind of how it fell out as I was predicting. I don't know that I purposely wanted them at that low. I don't know if they're particularly low, but lower than some.
Right. And then
the biggest exclamation point on this is the 49ers. So I had them 7-10. You had what, 11-6?
Yes, at 11-6.
And you had them make the playoffs, correct?
Yes, at the number 5 seed.
All right, so this is kind of the same thing that we had last year. I hate the 49ers with every fiber in my body, and I think they're not that good. I think Kyle Shanahan is overrated, and yeah, Trey Lance is not going to be that great in my opinion.
Of course, I was a big Trey Lance guy coming out of the draft. Liked him a lot, and I definitely could see a path to the crashing and burning easily.
Right.
But I like the 49ers. I mean, with Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, I mean, he'll have a good offense go around him. Like one of the best offensive lines in the league. He's stepping into a very good position.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Like, you have all the rookie quarterbacks that were taken in the draft. He definitely has the best surrounding, supporting cast. Like, if anyone is set up in a position to do well, it's Trey Lance. But the problem is, we saw so little. He played, one full season in college.
Yes.
And that was against, not great college teams. So we really have a very small sample size. He did play a game last year, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. It all rests on him, to be honest. And if you believe in him, then some people really believe in him. You kind of have 11-6, but I'm just not seeing it there. And then Arizona, you had 9-8?
Yes, I had him at 9-8.
11-6 for me. So, what's your thoughts on Kyler Murray? You think he's actually a legit elite tier quarterback, or is he more kind of a Dak Prescott-y type?
I would definitely include him in the tier with Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
That bordering on elite tier.
Right. Yeah.
I would just need to see a bit more from him to be able to include him in a tier with guys like Allen and Mahomes and Herbert.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know, just that weird clause that, I know they took it out, but the fact that even had me in there 4 hours of study after every practice or something.
It has you a little concerned to hear stuff like that.
Right. I mean, I've never seen, and none of us have ever seen that before. That's just insane. And the fact that he's being compared, some people are taking him over Lamar Jackson. I mean, that's just nuts. Lamar Jackson won MVP. That disrespect is crazy. And then I think Kyler Murray is a bit overhyped. But that being said, their offensive firepower is really good this year. I really like their roster. With you got DeAndre Hopkins when he comes back. You have Marquise Brown. You still have AJ Green. Zach Ertz is still Zach Ertz. I don't know what happened. He dropped off everyone's radar randomly. But he's still a really good tight end in my opinion.
Yes.
And their defense is loaded, locked and loaded. So I don't know. I think the Cardinals. Remember, they were the best team in the league. They went 8-0 last year, and then they just kind of totally collapsed. But that kind of showed they have it in them to be the best team in the league.
Yeah.
And what do we got else?
The
Seahawks. Yeah. I feel like every division has that one team that's just and the Seahawks, and they're going to be just abysmal. I have them at 2-15, but I think they could be the worst team in the league.
Yeah, and I have 4-13 as well. Why Pete Carroll is coaching that team into his 70s, I will never know.
Yeah.
Because he was not going to stay through a rebuild on that team.
No. That's ridiculous. I'm glad the Legion of Boom is long gone. I have no urge to see the Seahawks have a winning record for a long time. All right, so that's our regular season predictions for both conferences. Now we get into the exciting action, the playoffs. So let's start it. We'll do first round, I guess, for both. We'll start it off with the AFC.
Sure.
All right, so
should
first round.
we each go through our whole thing
Yeah,
first?
you'll go through your. Actually, yeah, let's just do our whole thing.
Yeah.
So you'll start it off, I guess.
All right. So I'll start it off. For me, I'll now read back my standings first, to make it make a little more sense.
Yeah, refresher.
In AFC, from 1 to 7, I had Bills, Bengals, Chargers, Colts, Chiefs, Ravens,
And that's it. That's 7.
and then in the NFC, I had the Buccaneers, Packers, Cowboys, Rams, 49ers, and Vikings.
All right. So we got the Bills get a bye, and then the Packers get a bye, right?
or the Buccaneers. Buccaneers and Bills. Only one team gets a bye. It's still kind of weird to me. I'm so used to the 2-team bye. Like, I don't know. I guess I like it overall. I'm not a fan of the game expansion because that's just gonna just a money grab is gonna mess up the entire history of the NFL. We're gonna look back at these quarterback stats and such, and we're gonna be like, oh, he played the same amount of seasons, but with that one extra game every year, it's gonna make a difference, and hopefully it won't make the old quarterbacks totally obsolete.
Yes.
But anyway, I digress.
So in my first round, I have the Chiefs defeating the Indianapolis Colts, the Bengals defeating the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Chargers defeating the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
And on the NFC side, I had the Rams defeating the 49ers, the Cowboys defeating the Vikings, and the Packers defeating the Cardinals. And moving on to the second round, in the AFC, I had the Bills defeating the Kansas City Chiefs. And my phone died.
Oh, that's great. That's alright. We'll have all our predictions posted in the description of the video. We can come back to it at any time and review it. But while Scott powers up his phone... Oh, we don't have to... Yeah, while Scott powers up his phone, I'll read you off mine. And this is the AFC. We started off with the Chiefs at the Colts. And big shocker here, guys. I'm going with Matt Ryan and the Colts to beat the Chiefs in round 1 of the playoffs, an early exit for Patrick Mahomes. Really love the Colts team this year. That Matt Ryan is just absolutely perfect for that team. I think they get it done against the Chiefs. Raiders at Ravens. I really love the Raiders team this year. Love their defense. I love their offensive weapons, probably more than any team in the league. So I have the Raiders upsetting the Ravens in round 1. Then we have the Bengals and the Bills. The Bills taking that against the Bengals. Then over in the NFC side of things, we get the Vikings and the Cowboys. The Cowboys are a joke. They're in it just because their division is awful. So I think the Vikings have enough to win that game. Cardinals and Buccaneers. As I mentioned before, this is not... I don't see this being a very good year for Brady. He's kind of going to go out quietly. So I'd say the Cardinals will upset Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay and advance. And then the Saints and the Packers in Green Bay at Lambeau. I think the Packers will take that. And back to the AFC for the divisional round, we have the Raiders and Chargers. And the Chargers will get their revenge in this game for that overtime flob last year. The Chargers will advance to the AFC Championship game. Then we have the Colts Bills. The Bills will advance to face the Chargers in the AFC Championship game. Back over to the NFC, we have the Vikings and Packers divisional game, the third matchup of the year, and I think the Packers will take it to advance to the NFC Championship game. The Cardinals and the Rams, another divisional matchup here, and the Rams will take that as well. Then the Rams-Packers, and this will be in Los Angeles, the ever-elusive NFC Championship for the Packers. I think, what a shock, guys, that I'm going to predict this. I think the Packers will win and advance to the Super Bowl, and I bet none of you saw that coming. Then we have the Chargers and the Bills in the AFC Championship game. This could be another 13 seconds sort of type of situation. And unfortunately for the Bills, I have the Chargers coming out on top in that one. So your Super Bowl, in my prediction, is Packers versus Chargers. And guys, it's going to come as a shock to all of you, but I do have the Packers win the Super Bowl this year. And I'm feeling pretty confident in it. I think that the loss of one of the best receivers in NFL history will somehow, some way benefit this team. But in all realisticness, their defense is scary good this year, and their running game and offensive line is second to none in my opinion. So I think that is what will propel the Packers to the top of the league this year. And all right, yeah, Scott got his phone back, and he's ready to give you his.
And I will go ahead with my predictions now. I'll do a quick refresher. From 1 to 7, in the AFC I had Buffalo, Cincinnati, LA Chargers, Indianapolis Colts, Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens, Las Vegas Raiders. And the NFC from 1 to 7, I had Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Green Bay Packers, Dallas Cowboys, LA Rams, San Francisco 49ers, Minnesota Vikings, Arizona Cardinals.
Alright, pretty solid list.
So in my first round matchups, I had the Kansas City Chiefs defeating the Indianapolis Colts, the Cincinnati Bengals defeating the Las Vegas Raiders, and the LA Chargers defeating the Baltimore Ravens. And then the NFC, I had the LA Rams defeating the San Francisco 49ers, the Green Bay Packers defeating the Arizona Cardinals, and the Dallas Cowboys defeating the Minnesota Vikings. Then in the divisional round, I had the Buffalo Bills defeating the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, revenge game.
The LA Chargers defeating the Cincinnati Bengals. Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeating the LA Rams. And the Green Bay Packers defeating the Dallas Cowboys.
There we go.
And in the AFC Championship, I had the Buffalo Bills defeating the LA Chargers to advance the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And in the NFC, I had the Green Bay Packers defeating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to advance the Super Bowl.
Oh, look at that.
And
two teams in there.
And of course, the homer I am picking the Buffalo Bills to win the Super Bowl.
All right, so Bills fan over here, and it's a shocker. He picks the Bills to win the Super Bowl. And me as a Packers fan, I know it's a shock. I picked the Packers to win. We're so unbiased, it's pretty awesome.
I know, right?
But mark my words, the Packers are gonna win the Super Bowl this year. So you're gonna want to write that down. All right, and now we move on to the last part of our season predictions, and this is the awards section.
All right, and you have MVP, offensive MVP, defensive MVP, offensive. Is it just offensive rookie of the year?
Yeah, it's offense and defense.
Okay, it's both,
yeah.
right? Okay.
And then
comeback.
Yeah, comeback
and coach.
Okay. And we're just doing the winners, right? No runners.
Yes. Okay. So.
And how does the point system work for this? It's a pretty big margin. I remember it being. You could definitely impact.
If you predict the correct award winner, you will receive 10 points. And if your predicted award winner is a nominee but does not win the award, you will get 5 points.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good. There's There's 3 nominees, I think?
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty good. I like that. All right, so we can alternate. So you can go first for the MVP, and then I'll go first for offensive player, and then on and so forth.
So, for MVP, of course we go back to our bias, but to go along with their Super Bowl win and the number 1 seed in the AFC, MVP, Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's the thing. We could easily be like, oh, I had the Packers win the Super Bowl. Let's say my MVP is Aaron Rodgers. It's not. But it's like, oh, well, in this, I'm just going to go completely off script and go like, oh, Trey Lance is the MVP. We're not going to do that. This is in correlation with our season predictions, of course.
Yes.
So my MVP is Super Bowl loser, Justin Herbert.
Ooh.
Yeah, I really like Justin Herbert from his rookie year, and I think he's got the perfect coach, the perfect offense to thrive. And he's a yard machine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, him and Josh Allen. So Josh Allen was a good pick because they don't run the ball all that much, and when they do, it's with Josh Allen.
Yes. Although I do quite like that Herbert pick as well.
Yeah, they're both great young quarterbacks. It's going to be really fun and exciting to see them duke it out for the next 15 years. It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, so offensive player of the year. So this one's a bit difficult because you kind of want to think about so Justin Herbert would have been my, obviously he was MVP, and my runner-up for MVP is it's probably Josh Allen. So logic would say he's the offensive player of the year, but I feel like they tend to give that to running backs now and receivers. At least they did with Derrick Henry. So I'm going to go with a bit of a wild card here, and I think that the Browns offense is going to be ultra reliant on the running game. So I think Nick Chubb is going to eat up the yards, and mark my words, he's going to hit 2,000 yards this year. You're going to want to write that down. Nick Chubb, 2,000 yards, and offensive player of the year.
Very nice. I like that prediction. And I'll go a little off the board as well. For mine.
I like that.
Not too much. But my offensive player of the year is Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase.
Okay, so offensive rookie and then offensive player of the year.
I predicted the Bengals to capture the number 2 seed in the AFC, have a strong season, and I believe Jamar Chase will play a huge part of that. And I'll throw my own in. mark my words, Jamar Chase will have over 1,500 receiving yards
Holy
this season.
Smokes. That's an exciting mark my words there.
Yes.
I can see that happening, and if it does, that is going to be bonkers. Though. I mean, that's a nice graduation though for Jamar Chase, offensive rookie, offensive player of the year. That'd be pretty cool to see that.
Yes. And now on to defensive MVP. I'll be going first. And my defensive MVP is Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa, okay. So a bit of a veteran comeback here for Joey. If he can stay healthy, that's a good. I like that pick with the Chargers defense. Who do they got? Khalil Mack.
Yeah, Khalil Mack opposite him.
Yeah, okay, I see your logic
I like the
there.
potential for a big sack year for Joey Bosa.
Okay, yeah. At first I was like, but then I was like, yeah, you know what? That makes sense. That's a good pick. But I went a little younger, and I kind of went the route you went with offensive rookie to offensive player. I went defensive rookie to defensive player of the year because I have Micah Parsons winning defensive player of the year this year. And, he's just an all-purpose linebacker. They should really have him at the edge more often, I think, because he's a great edge rusher.
Also,
more so than a pass coverage guy.
Also, I believe a good pick, an absolute all-around player for Dallas.
Yeah.
Does everything.
I mean, I made a point to go after him in my fantasy draft because he just does everything. And he does it all so well. All right, so now on to this year's rookies. This is the spot where I struggle in year after year. I doubt I've got any right in this one. But I'm going to give it a shot. So offensive rookie of the year, I'm taking a guy that I had my eye on for the Packers to draft, which is a receiver drafted by the Saints, is Chris Olave. So my thought process here is Jameis Winston. Maybe Michael Thomas isn't what he used to be. Jameis Winston, he's looking for a guy to establish his connection with. You know, Michael Thomas was Drew Brees' guy. So I think Jameis Winston has got to find his guy. And I think Chris Olave just could be that guy.
And along similar lines for me, I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to have to find his guy this year. So my rookie of the year is going to be Christian Watson.
Oh, okay. So I thought you were going to say Romeo Dobbs because I had him as my runner-up here. I just made a little note.
I loved Christian Watson coming out of the draft, and I think he's going to play a big part in the offense for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, I love the pick, and what's even better is that we traded with the Vikings to get him, so that was awesome. I think the Vikings traded down like twice in that draft, and it was just both of them. I just remember thinking, like, that's a terrible trade down. But hey, I'll take it. All right, so defensive rookie of the year, you're up.
For defensive rookie of the year, I chose Aiden Hutchinson.
Yep,
defensive
me
end.
too. Yeah, me too.
Like that just seems like the logical choice.
Yeah,
there.
Defensive ends are they're getting all the money nowadays in the NFL.
Yes.
And all right, so yeah, defensive rookie of the year, not too surprising there. Also, the fact that I love the Lions team this year contributes to that. So now comeback player of the year, and this one I mentioned before. And I pretty much had my mindset on this one at the end of last year. And I think it's going to be Baker Mayfield. And I had this picked even before he was traded because I also love the Browns roster. And I think Baker Mayfield's gotten a bad rap lately. So I think he proves to the world that he's worthy of the first-round pick.
An excellent choice, I believe. And I went, although, with one of his teammates, which I thought was a very easy choice, and Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good choice. A good choice.
As long as Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy and have many expect he can have a big year, and I think could be just an absolute shoo-in for comeback player of the year.
Oh, for sure. He definitely has a talent. Like, the last couple of years now, he's been hurt. So, I think, yeah, if he comes back, that'll definitely get on the radar there. And what's the last one here?
And our final award
Coach
prediction is Coach of the Year.
All right.
And for Coach of the Year, I went with the coach of my number one NFC seeded team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and new coach Todd Bowles.
Oh, okay. Old Todd, that's kind of a comeback thing too.
Yes, exactly. That's why I included it.
There's a double award there.
Because when you're doing Coach of the Year, you usually pick one that did something good.
Yeah.
Or did something markedly better than the year before.
Or trying to
Coach of the Year.
Revive a dead team or something.
Yes, a team that exceeds expectations. And I couldn't pick one out other than Tampa Bay. It just seemed like that, to me, was a good choice.
All right, so I was very tempted with mine to go with Matt LaFleur because I think he does not get any respect for what he does with that Packers team. 13-win season in all three of his years there. I did not go there.
was tempted also to go for MCDC, Motor City Dan Campbell, but I think you got to get into the playoffs is like a minimum requirement for Coach of the Year. So I went with another controversial guy. Some hate him, some love him. But I went with Brandon Staley of the Chargers as Coach of the Year. I think those fourth down gambles are going to pay off a little more this year.
Another pick I like as well.
All right, so that wraps it up. We're going to have all our awards and everything posted in the description, so we will be marking our words for all of these things. This is going to be something we keep up. We kind of like check back in on every once in a while, and at the end of the year, we'll tally up the points. And the winner shall be the king. All right, now we're getting into our week 1 predictions. So in addition to that, we're going to do every week, of course, give insight, analysis, and predictions on all of the teams and all of the games. So this is our week 1 predictions. And I think we should finish it off with the Thursday night game because this is, tonight's game. So finish it off with the Thursday night for a dramatic effect.
All right.
So here we go. And Scott, when do you want to start us off? And
I'll start with the second one on my board here.
All right.
So you have New Orleans versus Atlanta, and I picked the New Orleans Saints.
Okay. And on this one, I picked the Saints as well. I mean, not much of a decision here, right?
Atlanta stinks.
Nah. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this one it's not even when you hover your mouse over Atlanta's icon. It's just, Saints. All right, on to the next one. We have the 49ers and the Bears, and I think we can both say we picked the 49ers on this one.
Indubitably.
Yeah.
Another stinker in Chicago.
Yeah. Those two games should probably be blowouts, I would expect. But the road team winning both.
Yes. And now on to Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, where I have the Bengals winning.
All right, yes, I had the Bengals as well. Although this one I hesitated for a little bit because the Steelers, they do a good job. Like, they never fall flat. And divisional games can get a bit weird, a bit wonky, and week 1 is kind of the wonkiest week of them all. So, but, in the end, I did pick the Bengals for this one. And, okay, Eagles-Lions. This is going to be interesting. I picked the Lions on this one.
As did I.
Oh, damn it. I can't gain anything here. All right, well, yeah, Lions. I don't know. I think they're more put together than the Eagles. A lot of the Eagles' talent and the reasons why people think they're going to be good is that, all that's new stuff coming in. So, if they are going to be good, I think it's not going to be right away, at least.
Yeah, oftentimes you can see teams struggling week 1 that are still putting together new pieces.
Right, like the Rams, it took them quite a while to get things together last year. It's like they were kind of a questionable team, Matthew Stafford throwing 1 million interceptions and pick sixes every week. And I feel like that's kind of how the Super Bowl teams go. Like it's never the cleanest team that wins the Super Bowl.
It always seems to be the team that gets hot near the end.
Yeah, which, ironically is the Packers every year. They come into the playoffs with like a 4-game streak, but alas. All right, so Patriots, Dolphins. Who you got on this one?
I had the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, as did I. I mean, I wanted to pick the Patriots, but because they went down Tuesday this week because they've lost in Miami like the last 4 or 5 years. So they actually went down there on Tuesday for the whole week.
It is supposed to be a scorcher.
Yeah. This is going to be like one of the most boring games ever. It's going to be like, I would definitely bet the under. This is one of those bet the under games in my opinion.
Tua and Mac Jones does not excite me.
No. And Tua also is quite boring to watch. So yeah, that's one you don't turn on. All right, and now Ravens Jets. I actually think this is going to be a pretty exciting game. I did go with the Ravens in this one, though.
So did I. They will defeat their former quarterback in Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, Joe Flacco.
Yes, who was named starting quarterback this week.
Revenge game. A lot of revenge games this week.
Yes, there are.
And unplanned too. So, Washington Commanders hosting the Jaguars. Who do you got for this one?
I had the Jacksonville Jaguars winning.
Yeah. Okay, I thought you might do that. So I went with the Commanders in this one because this was a toss-up for me because not a fan of either team.
Me too.
But yeah, I'll take the Commanders home field. That sounds pretty good to me.
Well, as I had mentioned before, I love the Commanders wide receiver core, but I am a little high in Jacksonville, at least to do better than they have before.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard to do worse.
Yeah, so I suck for them.
All right, and the ultimate revenge game. This is like the game I'm looking forward to the most on Sunday. The Browns and the Panthers. Who do you got for this one?
I have the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, okay. So I went for the Panthers. So
our first 2 games here.
Yeah.
Always differed.
So a team I really love in the Browns, a quarterback I really love in the Panthers. So I don't know. I could see it going either way though. So on here it says 78% of people pick the Panthers. That's pretty shocking to me. I think it's going to be a pretty close game.
Yeah, a game I'll be interested to watch as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And moving on, we will have Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans.
Okay, so for this one, I went with the Colts.
Of course.
But I did think about the Texans for half a second because Davis Mills is intriguing. The fact that he was able to do decent in just maybe the most untalented roster in the league, that's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty decent. And this division is pretty weak, so I don't know. Maybe in a couple of years when Matt Ryan is really old or gone, the Texans could do something with him. But yeah, this should be a blowout. And then we got the Titans hosting the Giants in Tennessee here.
And I had the Titans emerging victorious in this one.
Yeah, they should roll them. I like Brian Daboll and everything, but and I don't like the Titans, but King Henry is going to go hog wild on that Giants defense.
Yes.
And then the game of the week is the Packers and the Vikings in Minnesota. Who do you got winning this one?
I have the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, so we differ again. I don't even want to say this, but I do have the Vikings winning this one. So the Packers haven't beat the Vikings in a couple of years, I think. Oh, actually, they didn't beat them at all. They got swept last year, I believe, which was shocking. So I think the Vikings just kind of got our number at least for a little bit. First game back, no receivers. It's going to take a little while for that offense to gel. So, yeah, I think the Vikings are a little bit more composed on this one.
Interesting pick.
I can see it coming down to the wire with the field goal, which I'd take my odds with that because Vikings kickers are known to be awful. So then we have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cardinals, maybe the best game of the year offensive firepower wise. Two very talented teams. Who do you got winning this one?
I had the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, I went with the Arizona Cardinals here, and this is the most shocking number. 85% of people on ESPN picked the Chiefs to win this game.
There is a very shocking number.
What is with that? I mean, do people just why are they so low in Arizona this year?
I'm not sure exactly. I mean,
they're uber talented.
After their start to last year, you'd think people might be higher on them, but the narrative just changed so much after their playoff loss last year.
Yeah, I mean, they as good as they looked to start off the year last year, they looked equally bad to finish it.
Yes.
That was just odd. It was like a tale of two seasons almost with the Cardinals. But again, week one, maybe I'm overthinking composure and the team they're just started, they got to get it together. Maybe I'm overthinking that because that's kind of why I chose the Cardinals. But we'll see. And then we got the 4:25 matchup between the Raiders and Chargers, and I think I marked this down as a revenge game too because we all know what happened last season with that thrilling game, best game all year with the Raiders and Chargers.
Well, absolutely, that was an amazing finish to the regular season. That game,
crazy game.
But this time, I had the outcome changing a touch with the Los Angeles Chargers taking the win.
Yeah, I do as well. And another composure thing, but I think they're just a better team flat out.
Yeah, some good high-powered offenses in this 4:00 window here. They'll be
right. You got Chargers, Raiders, Cardinals, Chiefs, Packers, Vikings, and Titans, Giants. But other than that, I mean, they're spoiling us with week one right now. Every game seems like it's a good game, with the exception of a few. But Sunday night football here with Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth. No more Al Michaels on Sunday night. But we got Tampa Bay and Dallas. So this was, I think they faced last year in week one as well, in which Tampa Bay prevailed. And I also have Tampa Bay prevailing again.
I went a little different. I chose the Dallas Cowboys.
Ah, okay. Mike McCarthy and the boys. It's hard for me to pick them to win any game, to be honest. And then we have the Monday night matchup between the Broncos, Seahawks, Russell Wilson revenge game. What do you got for this one?
I had Russell Wilson come out on top with his Denver Broncos.
Yeah, this should quite literally be a murder. Shield your eyes. This is one of those games that you watch the Manning cast for. So my logic with that at the Manning cast is, if it's my favorite teams, like the Packers or the Bills, I'm gonna watch the play-by-play. Because it's more like the Manning cast. You're hanging out with Eli and Peyton. You're just having a good time. It's this perfect for games you don't really care about, Broncos, Seahawks.
My thoughts exactly. But when it's your favorite team and they're kind of goofing off and not paying attention to what's going on, it's just a weird feeling to you when you're watching the game and you feel like the announcer should be saying what's happening is important.
Yeah, because you're like so intense on it, like, oh, we're gonna score a touchdown, and Eli and Peyton are laughing about some story that happened, So yeah, I think it's a good like option to have though. It's perfect.
Yes, I'd agree.
Yeah, like games you care about, like really want to watch, watch the regular games you get and be like, I'll watch Eli Manning. It's perfect. All right, so the game of the week, Thursday night matchup, NFL opener, Buffalo Bills facing the defending champs, Los Angeles Rams. Who do you have for this one?
Shocker, I have my Buffalo Bills.
You got a score prediction on that one?
My score prediction out there is the Buffalo Bills are going to win 27-23.
Okay, all right, so a bit conservative with it, considering the high-powered offenses, but also high-powered defenses as well. I feel like these defenses are the type that can like score on That's how good they are. But I went in an opposite direction. I went with the Rams for this game, and I'm gonna go 30-20 Rams. I think is good. Actually no, 30-23, 30-23 Rams. Mark it in. And I can't wait for that halftime. So Ozzy Osbourne. That's I'm so glad I don't have to just get up and go to the bathroom when halftime comes and actually enjoy watching it. So these are our season predictions, our week 1 picks, and I hope you guys out there enjoyed the podcast. Hope you all have a great football weekend. And this is Rob
and Scott,
and we are tuning out.